Hello and welcome to Board Stupid. My name's Wayne.
And I'm Matt.
And this is 5 things that we've learned when preparing for the London Grand Tournament. Matt, we've only just started this journey.
Yeah, so this is the very first episode of this new series that we announced a few days ago. And well, we're gonna take you on our journey from being really bad at 40k to going to the London GT, that is the biggest, one of the biggest tournament in the world.
Yes.
And we got a few months to actually get our ducks in a row and try to understand all the things. And while we're doing this, these are the first 5 things that we were not sure about and we didn't know. But again, stay tuned, because we're gonna bring to you on this series some of very good 40k player or organizer, someone that really know what they're doing, and we're gonna ask them the question that as beginner player you want to ask to someone about tournament and competitive playing.
Absolutely. So with that, let's dig into our number 5. And just before we do, make sure that you hit that subscribe button to follow our journey as we try to get better at 40k and enter the London Grand Tournament. So Matt, competitive play, which we didn't quite appreciate, one of the things we didn't quite appreciate was the pressure. There is a specific time limit that you have to work towards, right?
And yes, so each game will, each player will have during game an hour and a half to play, and that is played using a chess clock.
Yes.
Again, we just started using it, and I'll just give you my honest feedback at the start. It's a lot of pressure. It adds a lot of pressure when you see your times going down.
Yeah.
I do understand why it's needed, because like otherwise the games could last for hours and hours. That keeps it to the 3 hours limit.
Maximum 3 hours per game.
But however, yeah, we just started, and my first feedback is like it adds an extra layer of difficulty to the game.
Yeah.
But most likely, like down the road, it's gonna make us probably better and be ready for that.
I think so. It'd probably make us better players. And I think that 3-hour time limit for a game is hard, because I think a game of 40k is probably 4 hours. Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes 5. Right. In general, I think it's a longer game. It's rare that you'll have a game, if you're just playing like beer pretzel games that we played, that like I finished in 3 hours. You're there the whole night mostly, like enjoying the game. So that pressure to be done in 3 hours, no longer, is definitely tough. And when you're using a chess clock, which in some tournaments is mandatory, and some tournaments it's not, but if any player requests it, you must play with the chess clock. That's the rules.
So you kind of like need to get used to
in case someone comes up and says we're playing with the chess clock now, you've got to be ready for it. So we've been practicing with that, and that is interesting, having an hour and a half each. And what I quite like about that, there is something good about that, which is you are not dependent on your opponent maybe taking ages and then you not being able to finish all of your turns. Right? Yeah,
that's true. It makes the game more fair.
Yeah.
Because when you got that time, that is the time that you got. So if one of the 2 players finish that time,
I'm thinking about it for an hour before I make a move, then it's...
But no, absolutely. Again, adds more stress right now, especially to me at the moment, but I'm sure that's gonna help us out. But if you didn't know, check how to use a chess clock and start adding the chess clock.
Practice with it, I think, because I think practicing with it is going to be much more helpful.
Absolutely.
And just to be used to it being there at least as well, which is really helpful. So that's our number 5, the time pressure.
Next one that we found out while doing practicing games is the shenanigan about terrains.
Yeah.
We thought that we knew pretty everything about the terrain. Wrong. We didn't get it. We didn't get anything.
So basically, each different type of tournament will have their own terrain rules to some extent, right? There might be, this piece of terrain follows the rules in the core book, but then this type of terrain, actually, all of this is line of sight blocking. It doesn't matter if you can see or not, this is the rules for this terrain. And actually, the footprint of the terrain is what counts. And with some rules, it's, actually, you have to be fully within the terrain. It's quite interesting, and also the different terrain setups are fixed for these tournaments, right?
Yes, for the so this is for the UK tournament scene. The UK always play with the fixed terrain, while the US, we found out they like to play with the player placement terrain. That means that your deployment, you start putting a piece of terrain for each one. Again, we didn't know, we just found out, so we're telling you, you most likely already knew it.
I know that, you idiot, so we didn't know.
So yeah, these things about like, okay, we know the rules about what the book says about the terrain, that most likely it's not going to be the same rules that are going to be played on a tournament.
Absolutely.
That's why if you start thinking about joining a tournament, check on their website, on their Facebook, and check for the terrain rules, because that's going to give you what terrains are going to be used and what the specific rule for each one of those are, because they most likely going to be different from the one from the core book. So absolutely double check the terrain pack from your tournament organizer.
So we talked about time pressure, and not only is time pressure something that we've discovered, Matt, we're going to need endurance, and that's something I didn't really appreciate until very recently.
Yeah, so a normal tournament will have 3 games in one day. Then if we think about it, that we say that each game will gonna be 3 hours using the chess clock, that makes that a 9-hour worth of game.
Pure gaming.
That means that you're gonna have some breaks, like between games. Let's say half an hour, 45 minutes, something like that. This started being like a 12 hours day. If you travel from far away, that adds even more. So be ready. I was like, normally when we finish a game of 3 hours, especially now using the chess clock and everything, I feel drained every time.
It's exhausting.
So I guess one of my questions to one of the more professional players, my first question to them is going to be like, how do you do it?
How do you do 9 hours of pure straight 40k with an hour break in the middle? That intensity of playing experience is something that we really didn't appreciate until we started this whole journey, and knowing that actually that's not over. In the LGT, we then go back for another 2 games the next day. So it's going to be heavy going. I think we have to think about things like, you've got to make sure you eat a good breakfast, get a good night's sleep. Prepare like an athlete for this
But even how do you break between games? Because what I find myself is, as soon as we finish a game, I'm going to
be thinking about
that game in my head for like 100 times. And how do you break that going into the thing? So for this one, I will say stay tuned. And when we got someone a little bit better than us at this, that have done it for a lot of time, they will tell us. So keep an eye.
Keep tuned.
So if you're a follower of our channels, you know that our core thing are board games.
That's our stuff. And we do board games on the channel.
We play a lot of board games. We play a lot of heavy board games. So we read a lot of like rule books, and we trying to get all the rules right, because that is an important mechanics on why we love a game. We applied the same things to 40k. We went there, get the core rule book, get the FAQ and all the stuff, start reading rule after rule after rule after rules. Then we went to play games, and what did you find out?
We found out we didn't know jack about the rules. There's so many rules exceptions, and like Warhammer 40,000 is a complicated game.
It is,
right? And even this particular edition of the game is streamlined for all intents and purposes. It's simpler than it has been, especially since like 3rd and 4th edition, etc. It's still a tremendously complex game. And there are lots of rules, interactions, and exceptions, and how they interact with the different army and index rules, and how and then how they interact with the terrain rules and other weird things that go on with it. That actually there's a lot more there than we first anticipated.
And on top of that, again, you will have specific tournament rules. That means that
tournament pack,
if a core rule say that you can do that thing, doesn't mean that that was going to happen during the tournament. So again, there are tournament packs on your whatever tournament you're gonna go, where they're gonna tell you like this rule does not apply, or this rule apply but in this way, this exception for this, or
even this model is or isn't allowed in this particular format, right?
So again, we thought about, okay, those are the rules of the game, we're gonna play the game. It's not always that, and you will see that Tournament X is going to be different of Tournament Y. So it might be that the rules are different between the two different tournaments, even if they are held in the same city or at like 100 meters distant. It could be that they're going to play.
You have some slight differences, but you need to know those differences if you're going to be playing at a competitive level, right? And I think that has surprised the pair of us, where we've gone, oh, we kind of know 40k at the beer and pretzel level, right? But actually, when you're digging into the minutia, there's a bunch of stuff that I just wasn't properly aware of.
So we'll say the rule book, you literally like need to learn it by heart,
cover to cover, and any FAQ for the tournament that you are registering for.
All right, last things that we want to discuss with you that we found out in this first video of this 40k series is gonna be talking about list. So which model do we need to bring?
Absolutely. Now, in my general sort of beer and pretzel games that I play with Matt and my other 40k buddies, I will just bring whatever I think I haven't played with yet, or any weird stuff that I think I just want to try and experiment with. I want to bring this cool model along, and I want to bring this model just because I haven't played with this thing. Yeah, exactly. Like, let's just put this and see what this does, and then I'll put this with this model, and let's have some beers and play some games. Turns out you can't just do that at a competition, especially as we want to try and give a good account of ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go and do that.
Absolutely.
But I don't think it's in the spirit of what we're trying to do for this series. And what we've really discovered, I think I certainly have discovered, Matt, is I really need to think about what are all of my things there for?
Yeah.
Why have I chosen this thing? What's it going to do?
It's very much like understanding which units are you going to take and what their role is going to be
on the
battlefield. Again, then things go sideways, so at the same time you need to think about units that can do multiple things. I found this like really, really interesting and quite difficult to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's like exactly understanding the unit capability and stuff. I think that comes just with time and putting reps into the game. But yeah, that is really, really interesting, but not the easiest thing that you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that's only going to come with time, like you say, come with reps, get to know your army inside out. And we're not the channel that's going to give you advice on your lists.
No, we're going to go on all the channels
and they're going to give us the advice on the list. Absolutely.
So that's the reality.
Yeah, we need all the help we can get, and I think it's going to be it's been an interesting journey so far, just playing games with you, Matt, playing games with other people, and realizing, well, actually this didn't work in the way that I thought it would, you know. And that journey of discovery as to your list in theory versus your list in practice.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been very interesting. So that's the last one, is our list discoveries. So that was 5 things that we've discovered just straight away in our journey, at the start of our journey. And that's just 5. I mean, there's going to be a ton more as we go through this. And you should stay tuned for the next episode in this series, where we're going to bring on a tournament organizer who does some affiliated events for the ITC. So this is GT stuff that you can go and do and get qualifying points and all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's someone that knows what he's talking about. That's why we're going to bring it on the channel and start asking those questions.
Absolutely, we're going to start asking those questions.
And and if you don't want to miss it, what do you need to do?
You need to subscribe. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and send us a comment in the comments below. So tell us, what do you think? Have you ever competed before? And what was your journey like? Did you have any big discoveries that you thought, dang, that's so different to what I thought it would be before I even started, trying to compete? This competing journey. Let us know in the comments below. And as we've said, if you like this content, subscribe, like, check out the rest of our stuff. For more. And
stay tuned for the next episode of the series.
It's going to be a good one with some play footage and everything. So Thanks for watching. We'll catch you again real soon.
Ciao.